Senator, obviously, people in Israel, Prime Minister Netanyahu and many of his officials are very unhappy with the fact that that the United States sent condolences to Iran for the death of President Raisi. They essentially say terrorism pays. Your thoughts about the administration sending that condolence?
Yeah, the administration and the UN, too, I might know, is completely wrong by doing this. Look, this guy is plotting to kill Americans. He is the butcher of Tehran. I mean, this guy is the one who is helping Iran be the largest state sponsor of terrorism around the world. Why are we offering condolences? And, isn't this world better off without him in it? I mean, this is a good thing, not a bad thing. And for us to offer our condolences really legitimizes the terrorist organization that Iran is running. It's absolutely horrible.
Well, another part of that terrorism pays is the fact that we learned today that Ireland, Spain, and Norway are in favor, or they're going to recognize the state of Palestine. Another suggestion that terrorism pays because, of course, the terrorism, the hotbed, the fertile breeding ground for Hamas has been in Gaza. Why are these nations doing this?
You know, I think this is part of a whole effort that is going on with the UN. They're clearly an anti-Semitic organization, as so is the ICC. And this is really an agenda pushed by these pro-Hamas folks to recognize Palestine when, the real legitimate state here is Israel. Israel has the real institutions of democracy. And if you look at Gaza, they voted in 2007 to install a terrorist organization called Hamas. And they've never had another election since then. So to recognize them as a state just makes a mockery of the UN. I mean, this is absolutely terrible what they're doing. And it really, frankly, is undermining the whole international order that we helped create to build peace.
Well, Israel, lives in a dangerous neighborhood. They're surrounded by countries that hate it, want to destroy it. And the idea that the ICC is seeking an arrest warrant for Prime Minister Netanyahu and the defense minister, at the same time, they're sort of a false equivalency with Hamas leaders because they're getting arrest warrants for them too. You've got the UN, you've got the countries that are supporting the state of Palestine, and you've got the United States sending condolences to Iran, which of course finances Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis. It seems like any support that Iran or that Israel has in the world is crumbling.
Yeah, and again, I would attribute this to the weak leadership of the Biden administration. When they started, going back and forth, being wishy-washy with regard to our support for our best ally in the Middle East, Israel, which is, again, a strong democracy that shares our values. When they started signaling that weakness, that gave room for these other countries to start being weak as well. And again, we are a leader in the world. What the United States does matters. And when we show strength, the world is safer. When we show weakness, like this Biden administration is doing, it gets much more dangerous. We've seen that with what happened after Afghanistan and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We see what's going on with China, and we see that weakness is directly contributing to undermining our ally, Israel.
The ICC, we're not a member, but there are some sort of sanctions that we could impose on people who are influential in the ICC, including the prosecutor, if the United States want to. Would you be in favor of taking whatever actions we could to try to at least put our influence on the ICC, not to go out and arrest Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, Tom Cotton led a letter that many of us, including myself, joined, warning the ICC that if they attempted to go after anybody in Israel, President or Prime Minister Netanyahu or anybody else, that we would work to endorse or enact sanctions on them. And I gave a floor speech today calling for the same thing. I mean, this just points out the hypocrisy of the ICC. Their own charter says that they aren't supposed to go after countries that have robust judiciaries, that have systems to be able to review cases to see if there were problems. And so by going after Israel, they're actually going against their own charter, again, making a mockery of this. And it just goes to how the ICC is another one of the anti-Semitic organizations out there. We need to sanction them, make sure none of those ICC members can ever come to the United States again, and look at what else we can do to make sure we're punishing what really is turning out to be a rogue organization. And by the way, it's not just important for us or for Israel. It's important for us because we're not a signatory to this either. They could do the same thing to us. They could come after our sovereignty the same way they're coming after Israel's.